Again, entries in this class, in Class 138B from the Thomas Ranch of Harold, South Dakota. Average weight of 908 pounds, weight per day of age of 2.89. Second entry in this class from Cadillac Ranch Charolais of Rainier, Washington. Average weight of 1060, weight per day of age 2.85.
Here for your second class in the Penn Charolais Heifer Show. I think two really nice classes that fit each other and I guess would fit certain operations the way that they should. I think that first class that came in, and just in terms of flexibility and squareness and the way that they're built in terms of their skeleton, you got to really, really like that set of heifers, especially them two heifers on either side. Them things in terms of body shape and squareness and type and kind and feet and legs, you really like some good things about them. I think genuinely speaking, too, just in terms of look and eye appeal, but still having the right pieces in terms of rib shape and weighing up in terms of a weight per day of age as well. That's a really nice pen of heifers there. I think that second class that comes in, and you guys can study it too, that's a productive set of females, just in terms of ruggedness, just in terms of the way that they're built. They're pretty similar in terms of their just genuine power, their genuine bone shape, and you study them on paper, and there's some interesting things to read there. There's one, I think it's in the top 1% of the breed for growth, so maybe just a little more progressive in that regard. But as you study them, maybe they probably don't square up quite as neat, or they don't their skeleton don't balance up quite as neat in terms of the way that they're built. But that's a big old stout productive set of females. So I think there's a class here where there's two different types. I mean, there's a set that's got the right shape, and their squareness and their skeleton is what I lean on. And then you've got a set that's just pretty rugged and pretty rugged design, and just in terms of power and dimension and the way that they're built. So to each is their own. I'll go out here and select the one I like or I prefer a little better, just in terms of the way they fit together and the way that they balance up. But really, really nice pair of heifers. Wouldn't argue if you'd want to go either way, because honestly, there's some things you could do here. But there's just one group that's just a little more my style.
Thanks, Brigham. Placings in Class 138B. First goes to the Thomas Ranch of Harold, South Dakota. Second goes to Cadillac Ranch Charolais of Rainier, Washington. So coming in next will be the last class in the Pen of Three Heifer Show. This will be class number 139. Single entry in this class from Conley Cattle of Sulphur, Oklahoma. The first heifer coming out of this pen is 878. A November 20th, 2018 daughter of TR Mr. Diablo, 2742 ZET. Current weight of 1,112 pounds. Weight per day of age of 2.62. Again, this is 878. Second entry in this class, or excuse me, second entry in this pin, 860. She is a November 21st, 2018 daughter, once again, of TR Mr. Diablo, 2742 ZET. Current weight of 1056, weight per day of age of 2.50. Again, this is heifer number 860 from Conley Cattle, Sulphur, Oklahoma. Third entry within this pin is 882. She's got a current weight of 1103, weight per day of age of 2.60. She is a November 20th, 2018 daughter of TR Mr. Diablo, 2742 ZET. It's the same sire as all three heifers in this pin. Averages for this pin of heifers: 1,090 pounds of live weight, 2.57 weight per day of age. Again, this is a single entry in Class 139 from Conley Cattle, Sulphur, Oklahoma.
Another single entry here of senior calves, and man, they're nice. I think you can attest to just the dimension, the power, the amount of bone and substance this group has is incredible, but yet still typey enough and still good looking enough and still big bodied enough to know them things will stay athletic and do what they need to do as cows. I think probably as a whole this is a symmetrical set just in terms of peas in the pods and seeing them, and what you see is what you get, but also at the same time just in terms of their age and where they're at in terms of where they're growing and how they're handling themselves. Their weights are nearly the same. There obviously must be T-full sibs of some sort because their numbers read so similar, but tremendous class here as well. So really, really nice single entry class to win the senior calf deal.
Placings in class number 139 first goes to Conley Cattle, Sulphur, Oklahoma. Coming in next will be a selection of your pen of 3 heifers. Coming out of class 138A is the pen from Grand Hills Cattle, LLC, Pierce, Colorado. All the females, April-born females, sired by RBM TR Rhinestone Z38. Averages on this pen, 886 pounds of live weight, 3.20 weight per day of age. Again, this is the winner of Class 138A, shown by Grand Hills Cattle, LLC, Pierce, Colorado. Coming out of Class 138B, first in that class was the Thomas Ranch of Harold, South Dakota, with a pen with the sires represented with Chardon Double Vision 1D and TR CAG carbon copy 7630 EET. Averages on this pen 908 pounds. Current weight, average weight per day of age 2.89. Again, this was first in Class 138B. Second in Class 138B, not going to be bringing those in, but is Cadillac Ranch Charolais of Rainier, Washington. Coming out of Class 139, the class that just exited the ring, would be a pin from Conley Cattle of Sulphur, Oklahoma. The pin is sired. They're all November-born females, sired by TR Mr. Diablo 2742 ZET. Averages on this pin, 1,090 for a live weight and 2.57 for weight per day of age. This is the final pin in the drive. Once again, coming out of Class 138 was Grand Hills Cattle. Coming out of Class 138B was Thomas Ranch of Harold, South Dakota. And Class 139 Conley Cattle, Sulphur, Oklahoma.
Well, I guess it'd be nice to have another guy with me here because this decision's going to be fairly tough. There's some differences on each pin, but genuinely speaking, that's a nice set of pins. I mean, every set of pin of heifers that came in to the ring in terms of usefulness and kind, and to each is their own. Study them things, study their paper, take that home and see what you like. But I'm judging today, and so I'll just tell you what I see. You know, so when you study them, that young class, obviously, and it's an easy trend in cattle. They're going to have a better weight per day of age at a younger age. It starts to level off the older they get, and you can see that by studying the weight per day of ages. But there's a couple heifers in that pen that are really, really typey. That lead-off heifer is obviously extremely, extremely nice just from a look and balance and eye quality standpoint. And I do think that's a pin that fits together good. There's one of those that's maybe a little bit of an outlier in relation to two of the others, but when you're bringing three heifers and trying to make them as fitting and as close to as possible, I still think they did a heck of a nice job doing that. And in their weights, and if you study them, they obviously they're probably ET sibs, and when you analyze that, you'd expect them to be as similar and as close in type and kind as it gets. That second pin, and you get a little bit stouter. You get a little older set of heifers here that have some dimension, a little more power than the other pin right there and behind her. Again, there's a one of them moderate ones that looks like to me is going to make a tremendous cow just in terms of her size, her body shape, the way that she's built. And like that other group, there's one that's maybe a little bit of an outlier, and she's the young one. She's also the heaviest one of the bunch. But when you study them and genuinely speaking in terms of type and quality and kind, a very, very genuine set of cattle with the right type of shape, the right set of feet and legs as well. And then we get into the senior calf pen, and again, probably another set of sibs in terms of how they're related. And like I said, when that class came in, and like I said earlier when we started, them weight per days kind of trickle down as the older they get because they start leveling off, and you can see that, and that's why they're maybe not outliers there. But in relation to their age, they're still extremely, extremely good in terms of power and dimension. What's the most unique about that bunch is, I mean, there ain't one slightly different than the other, and they're still good cattle. They're dimensional, they're shapy, they're powerful. Maybe not as typey or as neat quite as you study them up through their front third or their head as the other two pins, but they're pretty stout-jawed and pretty good built in that regard in terms of just the kind that looks like they're going to get out and make good cows and be dimensional. I just really like the fact that them are so similar and nearly identical in terms of the way they're built. And genuinely speaking, that's a sound, good, functional, big-bodied set of females too. So I'm not going to lie, this decision here is tough because I think there's three really, really nice pins. There's one that maybe kind of fits together, maybe just a notch better than the others and makes it easy, but I think it gets really, really tough because there was four really nice pins of heifers here. So I'll go out here and select your champion pin and then look at them a little more and pick your reserve. But let's give these guys and everybody that brought these cattle here a round of applause because tremendous set of females.
Thank you to our judge, Mr. Brigham Stewart of Washington, Kansas, for those comments. Congratulations. Your champion pin of three heifers goes to Conley Cattle, Sulphur, Oklahoma. Reserve champion pin of three heifers goes to Grand Hills Cattle of Pierce, Colorado. Congratulations to those exhibitors. Give them a big round of applause, and thanks to our judge, Brigham Stewart. we're now going to take a very snappy picture break and move into the Pin of 5 Bull Show. right, with that, we're going to move into our pin of 5 bull show. We've got 3 pins of 5, then we will move into the pin of 3, but we'll go ahead and start the pin of 5 bull show now. The first entry in the pin of 5 show comes from Cody Cattle Company of Scandia, Kansas. The first entry in that pin is 9040. He's a February 2nd, 2019 son of LT Rushmore, 8060 PLD. A live weight of 1311. Average weight per day of age, 3.75. A scrotal of 37. Again, this is 9040. Coming in next will be 9008. He is a January 6, 2019 born son of WC Milestone, 5223P. Current weight of 1412, 3.75 weight per day of age. Scrotal of 38.5. 9008. Next to be 9047. February 6, 2019 born son of Triple C WC Resource, 417P. 1474 for a current weight, 4.26 weight per day of age, 39 on the scrotal. 9047. It's 9045. February 4th, 2019 born son of WC Milestone, 5223P. Current weight of 1526. Weight per day of age, 4.39. Scrotal of 38. Averages on this pin, average current weight, 1435. Average weight per day of age, 4.03. Average scrotal, 39. Again, this is the first entry in Class 133, pin of 5 bulls from Cody Cattle Company, Scandia, Kansas. There'll be 2 more entries within this class in this drive. Coming in next will be the pin from Right Charolais, Richmond, Missouri. First entry within this pin, 9,200. January 2nd, 2019 born son of Triple C WC Resource 417P. Live weight of 1418. Weight per day of age of 3.72. Scrotal of 37. 9,200. Next in will be 9120. January 18th, 2019 born son of WC Monumental 5524P. Current weight of 1173. Weight per day of age 3.21. Scrotal 38.5. 9120. The third bull in is 9331. February 15th, 2019 born son of WC Inferno 6561P. Current weight of 1109. Weight per day of age 3.29. Scrotal 34.5. 9331. Fourth bull is 9234. January 12th, 2019 son of WC Monumental 5524P. Current weight of 1222. Weight per day of age 3.29. Scrotal of 38. It's 9234. The final bull within this pin is 9215. January 6, 2019 son of WC Monumental 5524P. Current weight of 1253. Weight per day of age 3.32. Scrotal 38. Again, this is a pin from Right Charolais, Richmond, Missouri. Averages on this pin, average live weight of 1235. Average weight per day of age 3.37. Average scrotal 37.2. Again, this is a pin of 5 bulls from Right Charolais of Richmond, Missouri. Averages on this pin. Average live weight of 1235. Average weight per day of age 3.37. Average scrotal 37.2. Third entry in this class from the Zender-Wauge Partnership of Stanchfield, Minnesota. The first bull within this pen is 903. January 2nd, 2019, born son of LT Affinity, 6221 PLD. Current weight of 1232. With current weight per day of age of 3.23. Scrotal of 39.5. Again, that's 903. Bull coming in now is 919. That's 919. January 2nd, 2019, son of LT Affinity, 6221 PLD. Current weight of 1214. 3.47 for a weight per day of age and 37 for a scrotal. It's 919. $924 is the third bull in the ring. February 3rd, 2019, son, once again, of LT Affinity, 6221. Current weight of 1156. Weight per day of age of 3.31. 37 for a scrotal. It's 924. The next two bulls are going to be sired by WCR Commissioner 593P. The first one of those is 906. He's a January 3rd, 2019 born bull. Current weight of 1244. Weight per day of age 3.27. Scrotal 38.5. That's 906. Final bull within this pin is 907. Once again, sired by WCR Commissioner 593P. Born on January 3rd, 2019. Current weight 1319. Current weight per day of age 3.47. 38 in a scrotal. Again, this is a pin from the Zinder-Waggy Partnership of Stanchfield, Minnesota. Averages on this pin 1233 for a weight, 3.35 for a weight per day of age, 38 for a scrotal. Once again, this is a pin from the Zinder-Waggy Partnership of Stanchfield, Minnesota. 1233 average weight, 3.35 average weight per day of age, average scrotal of 38. This is the final pin within the pin of 5 show. Recapping the pins within the drive. The pin tied on the far right is from Cody Cattle Company of Scandia, Kansas. Averages on that pin. Average weight of 1435. Average weight per day of age 4.03. Average scrotal of 39. The pin on the left, shown by right, Charolais, Richmond, Missouri. Average weight of 1235, 3.37 for a weight per day of age, and 37.2 for an average scrotal. Once again, the pin that is being tied right now from the Zinder-Waggy Partnership of Stanchfield, Minnesota. Average weight 1233, 3.35 for a WDA, 38 for a scrotal. And now comments from our judge, Mr. Brigham Stewart.
Really a good Pen of 5 show, and I do think all three of these groups have got some pieces and some parts about them that way excel even some of these other groups that you see. That one, the class that come in first, and I mean everybody can see it. That's a rugged, stout, big-bodied, big hip set of bulls, and I mean they, obviously in terms of weight per day of age and weight, and they have a little advantage just in terms of sheer mass, and anybody can see that just in terms of power. Obviously, a really, really nice leadoff bull that comes in out of that particular pen, and then they continued or stayed stout pretty well all the way through. A couple of them maybe you could change just a little bit, ever so slight in way they maybe want to get out a little on that rear leg, but it's not a major thing. They're loose skeleton, they're loose-hided, they still get out and move. That's a big old rugged, stout set of bulls that fit together quite well. And I commend them guys for bringing a set of bulls that look like that just in terms of power and dimension and kind with a really good leadoff bull. That pen that comes in second, and they're probably a little more moderate in their birth weights, the next two pens, but or in their yearling weights, but again, there's a few bulls in there that are intriguing. I think as a whole, as they came in, that was a balanced, extremely good-looking, long-bodied set of bulls. Its structure's just extremely ideal in terms of the way they handle themselves. And I think that pen fits together quite nice just in terms of their look and their balance. There's obviously an outlier that came in first in that pen in terms of weight and where he's at. And I really think that bull that came in fifth in that pen, the fifth bull that come in the ring out of that pen, that thing's pretty intriguing to me just in terms of his look and his balance and his muscle. I think just a nice symmetrical pen of bulls that give up a little performance to the ones that come into that first class. But there's some genuine pieces of skeleton and build and length of spine that are pretty intriguing in that set of bulls too. And then there's I think a pen that's also intriguing to me is the one that comes in third. That's a shapy, big hip set of bulls, and I think in relation to their weight, I really like the pop and shape of muscle that they have out through their hip, and dimension in that regard. You can study them on paper. Obviously, that's a set of Cavanese bulls too, and they've got a little extra shape and a little more dimension, and that fits together real well. And there's also a couple of them bulls, that leadoff bull in that pen, and the one that kind of came in the center. I thought were pretty intriguing just to look at them in terms of their skeletal balance. And then I'd like to also comment just on that particular pen in relation to their weight. Their scrotals are pretty big, and when you got big scrotal cattle that are still Cavanese, that's usually a pretty good trait in terms of fertility and longevity, and when you study things like that. So I really think three really nice pens of bulls. There's maybe one that hits you a little harder than most, and it is this rugged set of bulls that come in here that were first. They're going to be my champion pen of 5. I'm going to go study these other two a little longer because I do think them two pens are close, and what you'd give and take with each pen is dank sure some pieces that you got to like. But you guys from the outside looking in, study these things, study them on paper. There's some interesting cattle, some really nice bulls come into this particular group, and I'm sure these things will be offered for sale. So study these things and use what fits for you guys, because I do know, I mean, we're pretty versatile and pretty diverse in our cow herd, but quality and balance and eye appeal, and then yet still having some muscles are all good traits. So give these guys a round of applause. I'll go pick your reserve.
Congratulations. Champion pen of 5 goes to Cody Cattle Company of Scandia, Kansas. Congratulations on your reserve champion Pin of 5 bulls goes to Wright Charolais of Richmond, Missouri. Congratulations, those exhibitors. Let's give them a big round of applause and thank our judge, Mr. Brigham Stewart. Once again, we're going to take a quick picture break and then move into the Pin of 3 bull show. go ahead and start the Pen of 3 show. Thanks, Neil. We will have a couple different classes. We'll have class number 135A. We'll have 2 entries in that class. The first entry will come from Wright Charolais of Richmond, Missouri. The first bull in this pen is 9155. He is an April 9th, 2019 born son of Triple C WC Resource 417P. Got a weight of 975 pounds and a weight per day of age 3.43, 32 on a scrotal. He's one of 3 bulls. All of them are sired by Resource 417P. Again, this is 9155. Next will be 9154. April 6, 2019 son, again of Resource 417P. 1018 on a weight, 3.55 WDA, 36 on a scrotal, 9154. $91.50 is the 3 bulls in, or the third bull in this pen. March 19th, 2019 son of Resource. 1064 on a weight, 3.49 on a WDA, and 32 on a scrotal. Again, that's $91.50. Averages on this pen from Wright Charolais in Richmond, Missouri. Average weight, 1019. Average weight per day of age, 3.49. Average scrotal, 33.3. Again, that was a pen from Wright Charolais, Richmond, Missouri. Pen of March and April born bulls, all sired by Resource 417P. Next pen in this class, the second of 2, comes from the Auden Charolais Ranch, Colombe, South Dakota. First bull in this pen is G218, March 24th. Son of E.C. Dundeal, 5052 PLD. That's the sire of all the bulls in this pen. G218's got a current weight of 1095. 3.65 weight per day of age, 37 on a scrotal. G218. G187 is coming in next. March 17th, son of Dundeal, 5052. He also has a current weight of 1095. 3.57 weight per day of age, 35 on a scrotal. G187. G138 is the final bull within this pen. March 9th, 2019 for a birth date. Once again, sired by Dundeal 5052. 1064 for a current weight, 3.38 weight per day of age. 34.5 for a scrotal. Again, this pen from Odd and Charolais Ranch of Cologne, South Dakota, averages 1085 for a weight, 3.53 for a scrotal, 3.53 for a weight per day of age, and 35.5 for scrotal. Again, that's 1085, 3.53, and 35.5. There's 2 entries in this pen. In this class. First one from Wright Charolais, Richmond, Missouri. Average 1019 weight, 3.49 WDA, and 33.3 for scrotal. And the pen that's still loose was from Odd and Charolais Ranch of Cologne, South Dakota. 1085 average weight, 3.53 weight per day of age, 35.5 average scrotal.
I think this class gets extremely interesting just because, genuinely speaking, and I don't want to say it in any wrong way, but there's 2 different types of bulls or 2 different types of groups out here. That group that come in first, I think just in terms of symmetry and look and balance and the way they put themselves together, they're really, really unique. And you study them on paper, that's probably the Cavanese group, and because of that, they're not as probably as rugged performers as the group that comes in second. They're not as big scrotaled as the bulls that come in second, but still way within realm of what's acceptable in that regard. I think just a really nice, balanced, smooth, awesome skeleton set of bulls that comes out of that first class that fit together nicely. And the bulls that come out of that second class, and personally, they probably are a little more my style just in terms of ruggedness of design, ruggedness of bone and hip and mass. And I think three really, really nice bulls just in terms of dimension and power. And as you study them things down their tops, they get progressively stouter from front to rear. So I'd really like some good things about that pen as well. That's a big nutted, big boned, rugged group of bulls in that particular pen. So, and again, when you study them in the realm of things, they're maybe not quite as smooth build or transition as smooth up through their shoulder and into that forerib quite as neatly as that first pen, but they still have plenty of dimension and power and the right shape to their body to go with a lot of extra dimension and power. And still, when you study them three as individuals, they're dang good cattle. You study them as a group, they're symmetrical and they fit as well. So I think two really, really nice pins of bulls in this particular class. To each is their own. I honestly, for you guys studying these from the outside, use and study the paper or do whatever, study the bulls, use the kind you like, because I do think there's a lot of good in both pins of these bulls, and I think they work probably in two different parts of the world. So I'm going to study these just a second or two longer, just because I think it's pretty close, just because they're so different in their type and kind, but still really, really good. So let's give these breeders a round of applause, because that's a nice that's a nice pen of bulls there in this particular class.
This is first on this side. First in class goes to Auden Charolais Ranch, Colombe, South Dakota. Second goes to Wright Charolais, Richmond, Missouri. We'll now show Class 135B. Coming in now will be Class 135B. We will have 3 entries in this class: Grand Hills Cattle, Cagney Effling, and Benish Cattle Company. Coming in first would be Grand Hills Cattle, Pierce, Colorado. First bull coming in is 9036. March 1st, 2019, son of LT Patriot, 4004 PLD. Current weight of 1255. Weight per day of age 3.89. Scrotal 36.5. It was 9036. $90.12 is coming in now. 9012 is a March 1st, 19 born son of LT Blue Value, 7903 ET. 1133 current weight, 3.51 weight per day of age, 34 scrotal. 9012. $90.70 is the final bull within this pen. March 13th, 2019, son of Eminem Outsider, 4003 PLD. 1168 for a weight, 3.76 for weight per day of age, 35.5 for scrotal. Again, that's 90-70. Averages on this pin, shown by Grand Hills Cattle of Pierce, Colorado, is an average weight of 1185, average weight per day of age 3.72, average scrotal 35.3. Second entry in this class is from Cagney Effling, Highmore, South Dakota. First bull in this pen is 9620G. March 6, 2019, son of TR Mr. Firewater, 5792 RET. Current weight of 1013, weight per day of age 3.19, scrotal 34.5. 9620G. $96.11G is next. February 25th, 2019, son, again of TR Mr. Firewater, 5792 RET. 1094 for a current weight, 3.35 WDA, 34 and a scrotal. 96.11G. Final bull within this pin is 9621G. March 6, 2019, son, TR CAG Carbon Copy, 7630 EET. He's got a live weight of 1121, 3.53 weight per day of age, 32.5 scrotal. 9621G. This pin from Cagney Effling of Highmore, South Dakota. Averages 1076 for a current weight, 3.35 for a scrotal, weight per day of age, and 33.7 for a scrotal. 1076, 3.35, 33.7. Final pin within this class, shown by Benish Cattle Company of Valparaiso, Nebraska. First bull in this class is 915. February 15th, 2019, son of Triple C WC Redemption, 7143 PLDET. 1050 for a current weight, 3.12 WDA, 36 for a scrotal. 915. $942 is the next bull. Born on March 27th. Sired by RF Resource 629. Got a current weight of 1,001 pounds. Weight per day of age 3.37. Scrotal 29.5. 942. Final bull in this class, 916. February 15th, 2019, on a birth date, sired by LT Ledger 0332P. Current weight 1061, 3.15 WDA, 33.5 for a scrotal. Averages on this pin, average weight of 1037, average WDA 3.20, average scrotal 33. In this pin is shown by Benish Cattle of Valparaiso, Nebraska. The average 1037 for a weight, 3.20 for a weight per day of age, and 33 for a scrotal. The pin on the far right in this class is Grand Hills Cattle, Pierce, Colorado. 1185 for a weight, 3.72, and 35.3 for a scrotal. Pin in the middle shown by Cagney Effling, Highmore, South Dakota. 1076 for a weight, 3.37, and 33.7. Once again, final pin in this class, Benish Cattle Company, Valparaiso, Nebraska. 1037, 3.20, and 33. And now comments on this class from our judge, Mr. Brigham Stewart.
Nice pin here, too, as well, or nice class of bulls here. I think, and let's give these people a round of applause, because I do think there's three pretty nice pin of bulls here, and all got a little different things a guy can look at. I think, you know, the kind of the combo between phenotype and how they read on paper is what kind of comes to mind on this first class. And they, you know, you study them things on paper, and they're rather impressive. And then phenotypically, they fit. They're good structured. They're sound. They've got enough to them. I think ones that fit together pretty nice when we study them in that regard. I think there's maybe one skirt bull and a couple pulled ones, but genuinely speaking, that's a really, really nice set of bulls. And just in terms of phenotype and build and structural build that a guy can lean towards. And I think the kind of the biggest testicled set of bulls here in this particular class too. I think, and so there's a lot of neat things that you could look and study and evaluate on that first class. The second class, those are the ones that probably hit a guy a little harder when they come in the ring. And just in terms of just sheer design and muscle and and just the way they're built in terms of rib shape, and they're compact, but yet they got a little grow. They're athletic, but they have a little extra muscle. They're just really, really intriguing. And I think three that fit together as good as any, just in terms of the way they put their shape together, the way they wedge up in behind their shoulder, and you just study the projection of muscle that them three have. It's really, really intriguing. You know, what maybe bothers a guy, it looks like to me there's a pair of litter mates there, a pair of flush mates there, and then a different one based off the paper. They're not outliers when you study them and from an EPD profile. But let your eye be the judge on this set of bulls, because I do think there's some performance and muscle, and there's a lot of good in them, and I like that pin quite a bit too. And then that pin that comes in third, and I want to say they don't fit with these other two as well, because they're just not as full today. I think they're probably taking the trip just a little bit tougher than this other two set of pins, but you study these bulls and just genuinely look them come in terms of length of body and growth and structure. It's all there. I think a set of bulls that, if you study them at the ground and their mobility, way good. There's one of them in that bull. It's got a little more shape than the other two that puts together a lot of good things. So there's a lot of neat pieces in them bulls as well. They're maybe getting a little overpowered here today just in terms of body fill, but I think genuinely speaking, that's a good, sound, extremely high performance set of bulls that puts together some nice stuff when you study them on paper as well. So three really, really nice classes of bulls here. I think there's one that maybe hits me a little harder than others, but you guys be the judge on what you determine and what you could use or what type of bulls you could use, because I think these two or three pins of bulls do a lot of good things right and do a lot of good things well. So I'll go out here, select your first and your second, and then the following will be third.
First in class goes to Cagney Effling, Highmore, South Dakota. Second to Grand Hills Cattle, Pierce, Colorado. Third goes to Benish Cattle Company, Valparaiso, Nebraska. Congratulations, those exhibitors. Give them a big round of applause. Final class of the day will be Class 135C. This will be a single entry from Cody Cattle Company of Scandia, Kansas. After that, we'll have selection of your Grand Champion pin of 3. Once again, this is Class 135C. It's a single entry in this class from Cody Cattle Company of Scandia, Kansas. First bull in this in this pin is 9038. February 1st, 2019, son of WC Up the Limit 1128 PET. 1430 for a weight, 4.07. Weight per day of age, 42 for a scrotal. It's 9038. $90.55 would be the second bull. February 7th, 2019, son of WC Monumental 5524 PET, P. 1417 for a weight, 411 for a weight per day of age, and 38 for a scrotal. It's 90.55. The final bull today is 90.30. January 30th, 2019, son of WC Inferno 6561P. 1558 for a weight, 4.41 weight per day of age, and 38 for a scrotal. Again, that's 90.30. Averages on this single entry pin. Average weight of 1468. Average weight per day of age, 4.20. Average scrotal, 39.3. Again, this is a single entry in Class 135C. After this, we will select your grand champion pin of 3 bulls. Again, this is a single entry, Class 135C, shown by Cody Cattle Company, Scandia, Kansas. Averages 1468 for a weight, 4.20 for weight per day of age, 39.3 for an average scrotal.
Really nice single entry here, and a different set of bulls. I mean, it's kind of similar to that pin of 5 we seen earlier, just in terms of just sheer pounds and power and ruggedness. I think these 3 bulls phenotypically fit together extremely good, just in terms of mass, and still you study these things in terms of foot shape and the way they get out and handle themselves. It's still extremely good. I think this particular group of 3s, it's going to be a little more challenging because there's some different things a guy can do here when it comes into the overall, but this is sure an impressive set just in terms of rugged, stout, high-performance bull that still have the right amount of look and the right amount of build and foot and structural design to make them work. So really nice single entry class here.
Placings in Class 135C. First goes to Cody Cattle Company of Scandia, Kansas. We'll now select your grand champion pin of 3 bulls. We'll bring back the class winners, let them loose, and kind of do like we did in class. So placings in the first class. First was Odd and Charolais Ranch of Cologne, South Dakota, with a pin that averaged 1085 for a weight, 3.53 weight per day of age, and 35.5 scrotal. Second in that class was Wright Charolais of Richmond, Missouri. Once again, that's a pin from Auden Charolais Ranch of Cologne, South Dakota. They won Class 135A. Coming out of Class 135B was a pin from Cagney Effling of Highmore, South Dakota. Pin that averaged 1076 for a weight, 3.35 for a weight per day of age, 33.7 for a scrotal. Second in that class was Grand Hills Cattle of Pierce, Colorado, and third was Benish Cattle Company of Valparaiso, Nebraska. Again, first in Class 135B was Cagney Effling. Invite everybody to watch the junior show. We'll begin at 8 a.m. in the morning. We will have the Charolais and the Rockies sail at 1 p.m. in the stadium arena up on the hill. I think there's a football game tomorrow, too. And then the open show will take place at 8 a.m. on Monday morning.
5 bulls, and like I said, you do what you want to do with it and handle it how you want to handle it, because everybody has a different opinion, and everybody knows what works for them and may work in their part of the world versus what may work in my part of the world or elsewhere. But I do think in this genuine lineup, and if you can't tell, that just shape and muscle and just true body design is what I like, and that's why the stoutest set of bulls usually won every class. The Charolais breed, I mean, it kind of holds a little place in my heart, because we actually, and it was between me and my old man, we bought that Hoodoo bull, probably 20-some years ago here in Denver, and I think he was one of the first Hoodoo bulls to ever leave the ranch. And that bull was successful, and to be honest with you, we used him on kind of some of our club calf type cows and stuff just to kind of put the maternal back in them. And long story short, my dad ends up flying to Oregon, falls in love with a Charolais heifer, uses her win the show, calls that guy, says, hey, I want to flush some other of that heifer if we can do something to my new Hoodoo bull. And this was kind of before that my old man text. He's now a better texter than I am, but before we had text, he landed the plane, and that guy had emailed my dad and said, I don't think you want to flush that cow to that bull because they're maternal sibs. And so, like, long story short is, Dad flew halfway across America and found a maternal sib. The mother was a maternal sib to that bull, our Hoodoo bull, and it was just kind of unique to us. Later in life, we ended up buying a cigar out of that cow. And actually, it was the National Charolais sale here. Clint Sexton sold the pick of his fall calf crop. There was a bunch of slashers out of that cow. We ended up buying that lot. The best one broke her leg. So we were lucky. He was going to give us half the old cow, or he had a really good cigar out of that 305 scratch. They called the cow Scratch. And they said, you could take all of her. I just want to keep a flush in her, which come to be Bohannon's mother. And we had ended up raising the national champion Charolais bulls raised on our place here just a few years ago when it was in Kansas City. And so the story all kind of started with really Hoodoo, but long story short, the next bull that we ended up purchasing in Denver that year, my old man was up on the hill. Someone kept bugging him, says, come look at this Charolais bull, come look at this Charolais bull. So, of course, I went up on the hill, started going through the Charolais bulls. A friend of mine, and actually it was a dog sitting next to the bull that caught my attention before the bull. The bull was laying down, and trying to get me and my dad in one place at Denver at the same time is really hard to do. So, long story short, Dad's calling me, where you at? And I said, I'm not leaving this bull. I found a bull that you need to look at. No, come over here and look at this bull. Let's get this over with, whatever. And I said, I'm not going to leave this stall until we own this bull, essentially, is what it boils down to. And he ended up winning. He won Louisville previous to that, ended up winning Fort Worth after that. But it all started here in Denver for really our whole part of the Charolais breed for my family really started here in Denver, and we liked what that initial bull purchase did, and started purchasing a handful of cows and raising some stuff, and do most of it all through ET. But it kind of, this place in Denver kind of holds a place for me in relation to them Charolais. But to get back to the cattle, it's just kind of my two facts it's kind of neat that I'm actually getting to judge some Charolais here in Denver. I think this class that wins the first class, and that was a tough pair, and I wouldn't argue to anybody if you'd have switched that pair. This set of bulls fit me a little better, just in terms of ruggedness of design, extra muscle shape, the way they project that shape out through their hip. I liked a lot of things about them bulls. They're maybe not quite as, I want to say, quite as full or as dimensional in the rib shape as the other two, but they're also the youngest pin, so you don't expect them to be necessarily that way. But I think just in terms of balance and phenotype and extra muscle and dimension, them bulls do a lot of nice things in that regard. This second pin of bulls is just awfully intriguing to me, and I do think when you just study them phenotypically, they're outliers. Them are extra good looking. I love the shape and the tone of muscle shape they have, just in terms of the way they project and wedge from front to rear. All three of them fit like peas in a pod, just in terms of their build and their kind. And they're athletic. You ask them to go, they're up-headed, they're good looking, they're athletic, and they do a lot of nice things. In relation to another pin in this particular group, and you can just study them, they're not as projected on their EPDs. It's probably not as modern a cows. as some of these other bulls are in terms of getting their numbers to where they need to be. But if you study them phenotypically, there's plenty of performance, there's plenty of muscle, there's plenty of dimension in them bulls. So I think that's an area where it's probably a little more currentness of dam, currentness of pedigree on their numbers than it probably is anything to do with the bulls themselves, because they've got some punch. And I really, really like that set of bulls from a phenotypic standpoint. And then that last class of bulls and single entries, and again, they're really the outliers in this particular group. They're rugged, they're stout. Just in terms of dimension and power and kind, they do a lot of things right. Weight per day of age is obviously incredible. I think, and on paper, them are the best bulls. They read the best on paper as well in this particular lineup. And honestly, when you break them down and you send them loose and you let them go, their structure and their skeleton's extremely good. They get out and handle themselves like they should, especially at that weight. They're the big testicled bulls and the ones that maybe they give up a little extra look to these other couple pins, but they're also the ones that are they're the rugged, ready, stout, ready to go bulls that still fit together extremely good. So to me, it probably comes down to a couple of these for your champion, and it's kind of hard because I think there's one that fits the mold, basically from an EPD standpoint and phenotype, and I think there's one that's definitely an outlier. Just in terms of look and the way that they're built in their skeleton, and still yet a pretty stout set here that comes out of that first class. So I'm going to study these just a second or two longer because I don't know exactly which direction I want to go, because I do think there's some good in every pin of these bulls, and I think there's some things you can take home from each of these bulls and that to me is where it gets a little tough. But to end it, thank you guys for having me. Thank you to the Charolais Association for, I guess, getting my name on the list, or the board members getting my name on the list to be able to do that. I appreciate it, and it's been fun. So you guys study these things, take it home, look at the papers, do what you want to do with that. You'll know what works for you. For me, it gets pretty close on this top pair for sure.
Thanks, Brigham. One more round of applause for our judge today, Mr. Brigham Stewart. Congratulations goes to Coda Cattle Company, Scandia, Kansas. Reserve goes to Cagney, Effling, Highmore, South Dakota. Congratulations, those exhibitors. Once again, this junior show is tomorrow at 8 a.m., followed by the sale at 1. Open show will be 8 a.m. Monday morning. Thanks for everybody for coming. Congratulations to the exhibitors.